Alright guys, we are back for another video here. The Dragon Ball Super manga is continuing on, and we have another chapter here for the Granola arc. Now, the thing about this Granola arc is, I feel like a lot of the, how do I say it? A lot of the, like, story beats involving Bardock and stuff like that, I would say I, for the most part, am really not a fan, right? Like, sort of talked about the whole wish and stuff like that. I also think Gas as an antagonist is very weak. Not strength-wise, obviously, but I just feel like he's not, I don't know, engaging. Like, I don't feel, there's no charisma or anything from Gas, right? Like, it's like, when the Moro arc was going on, I found Moro at least was very charismatic, especially towards the end, right? And he actually like had a personality, and he had, well, I guess there's a little bit of like a Cell type thing, but Moro towards the end of his arc was much better than essentially what we have from Gas here. So this is chapter 85. It starts out basically with Ultra Ego, fighting Gas, whatever, right? Vegeta is pretty cool in Ultra Ego. I kind of do like the idea of the form. I think what Dragon Ball is doing, where it's giving each of these characters sort of their own individual, like, transformations, rather than just, like, baseline, kind of like Super Saiyan that everyone is using and stuff like that. I think that is cool, because it allows, like, quirks of their personality, right, to come out a little bit more with the forms, right? So, like, with UI Goku, he's just dodging, right? It's all instinct dodging, not getting hit as much as possible. Like, that sort of godly fighting style that Beerus talks about, at towards the end of the Moro arc. Whereas with Vegeta, it's, like, this really, like, primal, raw, like, Vegeta's getting beat down, then he beats down the enemy. So, like, I do like that. I think since, this first happened, Ultra Ego was a really good idea. Now, one interesting thing that happens in this portion of the fight that I really like is Gas sort of, like, upgrading his instant transmission and, like, using it on Vegeta, right? So it's like, remember a couple of chapters ago, there was that whole, like, cat and mouse game between Goku and Gas, where they were kind of just, like, teleporting all across the universe until finally Goku managed to get Gas to where Whis was, and then Goku left, and then Gas was not really able to teleport back. Well, since then, it seems like Gas has upgraded his, instant transmission, and now he's kind of doing it on other, opponents. I think that's pretty cool. Kind of a little bit reminiscent of kind of like a Sasuke-ish ability from Naruto, where he's able to actually do that, although he's not, like, swapping places. But it's cool, right? Like, I look at stuff like this and I definitely think of it in, like, the games, right? Like, oh, like, how would this look in Xenoverse 2 and stuff like that? Because, I mean, I gotta imagine, the anime is gonna come back, and once it does, like, we're gonna see, these characters, Moro, Gas, Granola, all this stuff, like, kind of actually added into the anime, and then the games, right? So, Ultra Ego, like, he fights for a while. One of the big things that happens here, right, is I do think that Vegeta has got to weaken Gas right here. Like, you could see even from some of these shots right here that Vegeta is actually able to sort of, like do damage to Gas, right? Because, we're not sure on what the specifics of the wish that Elec made for Gas. I mean, we get a little bit into it towards the end here, but it does seem like Gas was just sort of vaguely put above Granola, Vegeta, and Goku, right? But I guess this arc is interesting in that it kind of, like, is putting it right on the page of something that's happened, like, since day one of Dragon Ball. In particular with the Saiyans, which is where they just get stronger as the fight is going on, right? So it's like, the wish could be made, okay, Gas, boom, is now the strongest in the universe, but, like, Vegeta and Goku are getting way stronger as they fight, right? Like, you look at the way the Tournament of Power went, and it's like, how much stronger is Goku at the end of the 48-minute Tournament of Power than he was at the start of it? He's bajillions times stronger, right? Like, especially when once he got, like, UI and all that stuff. So, I think that this, like, sort of, like, arc is doing a good job of showing, right, these characters kind of, like, doing that. And I think one reason why Goku potentially handles Gas so handily in the second part of this chapter certainly could have a bit to do with the fact that Vegeta weakened him. Because I do think, like, some of these hits Vegeta puts on Gas certainly do matter. Now, one other thing that is kind of, I guess I should talk about this, right, is that I guess Vegeta sort of points out to Goku that, like, Ultra, it's just the same Ultra Instinct that Goku is typically using, right? I guess kind of inferring that, like, that's not gonna be enough for Gas. So Goku kind of does, like, his whole thought thing, right? Like, he kind of creates, like, this barrier. Vegeta eventually tires out, right? Like, Vegeta's fighting an enemy that's stronger than him, right? So it's not really too crazy there. But what gets interesting about this, right, once we get down here is, so Goku, like, he kind of is like, okay, like, I need to think of an idea of, like, how to fight Gas. And his idea is to use UI sign, right? So it's like, this is not like some new form or something like that, right? Like, when we first got the manga spoilers, a lot of people thought that this was kind of like a new form for Goku, like kind of like a different, like, variant or something like that. But there's no indication of that anywhere in here. It seems like it's just UI sign. Now, Goku does explain right here that for, mastered white-haired Ultra Instinct to work, he needs his heart to be calm and tranquil. But in this form, he could put his emotions to work for me. This is fine, but it's like, I just look at the Moro arc, right? Like, maybe I'm just, like, not understanding the story well, but, like, this completely is going against what happened at the end of the Moro arc, isn't it? Right? Where the whole, like, Goku shows up on Earth to fight Moro. He goes UI sign, but that's not enough, right? It's like, the other thing too is this whole Goku can put his emotions to work for me. Remember, Goku was doing that against Moro, right? Where he was just trying to, like, power up and use his emotions and stuff like that against Moro in UI sign, and Moro destroyed Goku, right? But then, Miras kind of, is able to give Goku that last push. Goku goes into Mastered UI, and not only does he destroy Moro, but then Moro becomes, like, Angel Ultra Instinct Moro, and Goku still destroys him. So now we get to here, and it's like, Goku is using UI sign. Now, if we're going to say that Gas was majorly weakened by Vegeta, sure, I think that does help a little bit. But I definitely want to see what the next chapter looks like, I guess, before I can go too crazy on like, saying, like, this is bad. But I don't know that I like, because it's like, Ultra Ego is, like, comparable to, like, Mastered UI, right? And then now Goku, like, kind of, like, downgrades, right? This is like if in the Buu saga, right? Like, towards the end, Goku is like, all right, man, Super Saiyan 3 is outputting too much energy, so I need to go Super Saiyan 2 to beat Kid Buu. Like, it just make no, like, it's just, like, right? Like, it doesn't, I don't know, man. I guess it's like, UI is different than just, like, Super Saiyan, and that, kind of like the calm mind and body working on instinct, all that. Sure, man, sure. But still, I'm not the biggest fan of, like, all right, I'm going to go down a form right here. Because it's not like Goku is, like, doing what they did with, like, God and Blue against, like, Goku Black and then Dispo and stuff like that. Where, Goku is in UI sign and then he strikes Gas in Mastered UI and then he, like, reverts back. It's like, we go down here and Goku's just beating the dog shit out of him, right? Like, Goku is tearing his ass up. Now, that's why it's like, bruh, like, I have got to walk out of this thinking that Vegeta, put some work on Gas, but it's like, man, we look at Gas, like, it's not like he's battle damaged here. Also, of course, we get the, call back to Bardock right there, right? Sure. I mean, this is just PTSD, right? Like, Gas kind of got embarrassed by Bardock, and now, he's seeing Goku like this. This basically covers the majority of the chapter, right? Like, they have their, long battle. One thing I'll definitely say is that the art, I think that Toyotaro does a great job when the fights are going on. To me, I think this all looks great. Obviously, it's helped by the fact that this is a monthly manga and not weekly, but I think that these battles actually look awesome. Goku does a mouth blast right there, which is cool. But one of the big things that happens at the end right here, right? So Elect drops down, And, you know, he's basically saying, like, listen, we need you to take down Granola, the Saiyans, Frieza, all this stuff, right? See, it's like, gotta kill Frieza. And then you know, Goku's like, okay, don't make him fight, blah, 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 blah. You know, Goku doing his whole, like, wants to turn Gas into a rival. We could spar anytime. And then Alex says there won't be a next time for Gas. Gas powers up, and he's kind of in, like, an older form right there. So, looks like Alex's wish, remember, for Granola, right? The wish to make him the strongest in the universe, it accelerated, like, basically his entire lifespan into, what was it, like 2 years, but gave him the huge power buff. So Granola had, like, 2 years to live. Seems like for Gas, it probably is even shorter, right? Since it looks like he's already aging. Notice he definitely did power up because his horns are back, too. Like, Goku's Kamehameha broke one of the horns off, right? Like, the horns were breaking during the fight. I don't know. I mean, this is interesting, I guess. I feel like Gas does look a little cooler right here than he was previously in the fight, but I don't know. Just the whole, like, UI sign thing is just odd. I feel like it could be explained better in further chapters, right? Because, like, I remember, like, when the Moro arc started and Miras, like, just gets the jump on Goku and Vegeta, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. And then it's like flash forward 50 chapters and it's like, oh, Miras is an angel. Okay, that's sure, man. Like, they could easily explain this stuff like you know, next chapter or something like that. That can make it a little bit better. No Granola in this chapter. Again, it's been many chapters since Granola has done anything. I don't have the biggest issue with that because I imagine Granola is going to come in and probably finish the fight against Gas. I would presume Gas is going to destroy UI sign Goku now. And then, you know, Vegeta might get back up a little bit, but then I could see Granola sort of ending the conflict here. But the other thing that's just very, very, I don't know, by the way, just show Granola. I really feel like if they don't introduce Frieza in this arc, I do feel like they are kind of, I don't know, like, because it's like this whole arc is based off of like Granola and Alec wanting to kill Frieza. That's like basically the whole point, is like them wanting to get rid of Frieza. And Frieza's been mentioned only every single chapter of this entire arc. Weird that he has not been brought in, right? Like, you know, Frieza might not be aware of the events that are going on, but like, they still could get him involved in the story. I think it would be good to see, because I don't like Gas. Alec, though, to me, is a good villain. I like Alec a lot, because he has this sort of like coolness, right? Like, most of the time, he knows more about what's going on than anyone else at the battlefield, right? Which I think is good. So we'll see, right? Maybe Alec ends up being the big villain or something like that. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think of this chapter. I think that when they're fighting in these chapters, it's incredible, right? Like, that's like this is the soul of Dragon Ball right here. But the UI sign thing is a bit weird to me, and I'm just not the biggest fan of Gas. I know a lot of people are not really feeling this arc. I mean, I definitely don't like it. It's funny, like, towards the end of the Moro arc, like, it's like, I was, you know, like, oh, it's bad. Moro falls off a cliff. Like at the end of it is just, like, insanity. But it's like, I think the Moro arc is way better than this arc. Although I do like Granola. I like Granola a lot. I was really enjoying this arc when Granola was fighting Ultra Ego Vegeta and then UI Goku. I thought that was probably the high point of this arc so far. Although UI Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta, like, transforming at the same time against Gas was pretty sick as well. So let me know what you guys think of Chapter 85. It's okay, right? Like, I'm not... One of these chapters that's mainly fighting to me is definitely entertaining, right? I mean, again, this is what Dragon Ball is about, right? So let me know what you guys think of the chapter. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.